We are now officially at the All-Star break, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have a record of 44-10. This season, under new head coach Kenny Atkinson, has gone about as well as it possibly could have. The Cavs started the season out of the gate red hot, and going into the break, they made a trade that completed the team, and they finished with back-to-back dominating wins. So in this video, I'm going to be grading every single player on this team through the first half of the year, and one caveat is that nobody will be getting below a B-, because at the end of the day, it's only fair. The Cavs barely have even lost double-digit games yet. So let's start with point guard and the player that runs the offense. The player that in his rookie season was once labeled as the worst player in the NBA. Darius Garland has more than bounced back this season after dealing with so many injuries in 2024. And at the break, he is averaging 21.6 points per game with 2.5 rebounds and just under 7 assists. Considering the explosiveness of this offense and all the weapons 1 through 10, those are phenomenal numbers. And on top of that, this is the most efficient year of his career. I mean, we are looking at a guy that is flirting with the 50-40-90 club. But the thing that has really stood out to me is actually not offensive. DG has gotten much better defensively. He still does deal with a lot of size mismatches, but he's getting steals, he's been jumping passing lanes a lot more frequently, and even with how much he gets hit in the face, he still always walls up. And there has been a few times this season where it has been Garland all alone in transition 3-on-1, and he has forced a turnover. And that is something that we never saw before. So for Garland, I think the decision is easy. He is an A+. And then for his partner in crime in Donovan Mitchell, I will say there have been times where he has gotten inefficient shooting the ball, but that doesn't take away from what he has done. He's still been Donovan Mitchell, and he and Garland actually met over the offseason to talk about what they needed to do to make each other better. Because in the past, it was clear that they were not working together to get to their max potential as a duo. They kind of just played for themselves and occasionally made a pass. But now the ball has been humming around, big part in thanks to Kenny Atkinson, but everyone on this team is a pass-first player, nobody is selfish, and Donovan Mitchell made a big decision by being willing to not run the offense. I think his stats would have been a lot higher, but he was unselfish and chose winning over personal numbers. But even with that, his stats are no slouch at all. Spida is basically averaging 24 points a game with 4.5 rebounds and 4.8 assists. And I feel like because of how he hasn't had to exhaust all his energy trying to keep this team afloat on the offensive end, he's been able to spend a lot more time focusing on defense. So for Donovan, I'm going to give him an A-. He easily could have been an A or A+, but there would be no point of making this video if everyone was an A+. And I think Don can shoot more efficiently than 45%. I expect his shooting percentage to go up over the second half of the season. Now to move on to the other guard and the player who may have been the biggest surprise of the team and maybe the entire NBA, Ty Jerome has been a monster. I guess I never realized that he had this kind of bag, but he is a guy that plays within himself, he has a very high IQ, and he may actually be the most consistent player on this team. You can't speed him up, you can't slow him down, and his slow step is unguardable. I do wish that Atkinson would play him for more minutes in big games because I think he is just that valuable to what this team does, but when he is on the floor, he always makes the most of it. Jerome is averaging 11.4 points per game with 2.5 rebounds and 3.4 assists. And the thing that really stands out is his over 51% field goal percentage, which is 30th best in the entire league. So easy A+ for Ty Jerome. Now moving on, let's talk Max Strus. Strus is definitely up and down. We just saw him go crazy against the Raptors. He was red hot, and he just makes winning plays. I know he's not the most consistent shooter, and at times he can be ice cold, but he's always looking to draw charges, he's always looking to be a pest on defense, and he always is in the mix trying to grab tough rebounds. For what the Cavs ask him to do, I think he plays his role perfectly. Yeah, obviously I wish he could make shots on a more consistent basis, but I don't have any problem with Max Strus, except for when he takes those occasional shots outside of the flow of the offense, so I'm giving him a B+. I guess just to be fair, Karis LeVert and Georges Niang were on the team the whole season. I guess they can get B's because they were a part of what this team did, especially Niang with how he logged a lot of minutes during those injuries. And then even though it's only been a small 2-game sample size with Deandre Hunter, Kenny Atkinson seems to love him. Everyone has said that he's a quick learner, he has picked up on the X's and O's and the different plays right away, and he seems to be unselfish, and instantly the Cavs defense improved when he arrived. So for whatever it's worth, I'll give Hunter an A-, but again, it's way too early to even give him a real rating. Now moving on to Isaac Okoro, he's really just been hurt, and that is unfortunately starting to become a theme. Okoro has always been a nasty defender, but this season, he really has started to hit his stride in knocking down open shots. But then he got hurt, so he does not have as big of a sample size as some of the other players on this team, so I gotta go B-. And then for the other player that is always injured, Dean Wade is so valuable to this team when he plays, but over the last 2 years or so, he has not been able to stay on the court consistently. I always talk about that one stat where Cleveland is like 35-1 when he starts, or something ridiculous like that. But again, until he gives us a few months in a row on the court, I cannot give him a higher rating than a B. Now moving on to the Twin Towers and the front court that has just been outstanding all year long from game 1 to game 54. Evan Mobley seriously should be in the defensive player of the year conversation, and the big thing with him is that over the offseason he put on muscle and he completely flipped his mindset. He's no longer that soft snowflake he once was. He's a lot more aggressive, he attacks, he doesn't back down, and his shot making ability has been improving month by month. I know he is still a long way away from becoming Giannis, but I see the vision now, and averaging 18.5 points per game and 9 rebounds with 3 assists, he is heading to the Bay for his first All-Star game. So Mobley, easy rating, he gets an A+. And now for Jarrett Allen, I really do feel like he doesn't get enough credit for what he does, but I do feel like Evan Mobley is kind of his safety net. Whenever Mobley is not on the floor or he's out, Jarrett Allen doesn't look like Jarrett Allen. And every now and then Allen will have bad games where he only has like 8 points and the effort and intensity just doesn't seem to be there. So as much as I want to put Allen in the A to A- range, I'm gonna play it safe and give him a B+. I really just want to see him healthy in the playoffs and see how he does in a series when the lights are the brightest, because I'm sure you all still remember that meme from after the New York series. Now moving on to guys further down the roster, Sam Merrill has kind of been a roller coaster. Over the last week or so, he's been red hot, but there was a month where he completely forgot how to shoot the basketball. But I do love his length, he's an underrated defender, and he's always moving and is always in the back of defense's minds. I think in the playoffs, he could be a spark plug. I gotta give Sam a B+. And then for the Rook and Jalen Tyson, I know he is very raw, he's got a long way to go in terms of development, but I love his hustle and the heart he plays with. He's not a guy that I can trust in a big game or a big moment, but it's tough as a Rook drafted late in the first round to try to come in and fit in with an already established culture. But he really has fit in to the best of his ability. I honestly didn't even expect him to really play this season, so he has surprised me in that regard. So for what the expectations were, I'm gonna give him an A-. And then really the only other player that is on the court from time to time is Craig Porter Jr. And he has had some good moments, he's made some plays. I know he has had some good games in the G League. I think Porter is a very solid 4th option in terms of point guard. I guess I'll go ahead and give him a B. And then finally, I know he's not a player, but Kenny Atkinson has been phenomenal as a head coach. He's very intense, but at the same time, he's relaxed, and he knows when to be hard on guys and when to encourage them. And he also is really good at making in-game adjustments. There's a reason he is headed to All-Star Weekend. Kenny Atkinson gets an A+, and I don't think it's up for debate. So those are my ratings for the first half of the season. Please let me know in the comments below which ones you agreed with, which ones you would change, and also what player you have been most impressed with this season. You definitely could not have asked for a better start to the season if you're a Cavs fan, and now with Deandre Hunter in the land and Dean Wade and Okoro on the cusp of being healthy again, this is a clear-cut contender that can beat Boston. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.